This video is about getting started with Commerce 365 for Magento in Business Central. In front of me is a fairly standard BC sandbox environment with the extension already installed and configured, but still I'm going to walk you through the very first steps here. Typically we advise people to use the setup wizard to get the proper initial configuration into the system. The first thing you do is you put in the set of keys, the app ID and secret that you get from us, either upon installing a trial or when purchasing a license. And in the second step here, you put in your Magento REST API URL and access token. And once we've done that, the system will validate the two connections. And if we click finish here, it will download what we consider to be master data. What it did, it downloaded our websites, store views, tax classes, customer groups, and it also imported shipment methods and payment methods and a bit of initial attribute information as well. Let me show you what has happened actually. Here's websites. So needless to say, the extension here is fully capable of working with the Magento multi-site and multi-store mechanism. And here we have the websites. If you want to define pricing at a website level, you can already tell by the notification up here. You need to do some configuration work on the Magento side, and then you can start to assign different price lists to each website. But more interesting configuration options can be found here on the store view level. This is really a powerful functionality within Magento. The fact that you can work with as many stores as you want. As you can see here, I have a couple of B2B stores, a few B2Cs. I have a specific demo store for Huva and some other stores down here. But let's look at my B2B EU store. Here you can really see how much configuration is possible on a store view level. Let's put it in edit mode. We can define how we want to treat customers. Do we actually want to import customers? Apart from importing orders, if we set it to none, we will only import customers when they've placed their first order. So upon importing their sales orders, but we can also import customers apart from orders. Here's sales orders. Do we import orders? No, mostly we do. Or most of the times you do want that. But then how do we treat these orders? Do we turn them into Business Central sales orders? Do we turn them into quotes or invoices? And upon importing the Magento order, do we actually directly create a sales order? Or do we create and release it? Or do we leave it, and as we do here in my demo environment, I like to click buttons, so we leave it set to none. So processing orders will be still in manual mode. But no, you can put the whole thing on autopilot and the software can simply process thousands of orders each day without anyone clicking any buttons. Further down here, you can see that you can also import credit memos. Some customers prefer to do some customer service work on the Magento side. This typically results in credit memos, so therefore we have the ability to import these from Magento into BC, but things can also be done the other way around. Like you see here under Outgoing documents, we can synchronize shipments, invoices, and credit memos from BC back to Magento. Now the B2B documents, I'm not going to cover that in this video here. Let's leave that for a later video. What I do want to show you is customer templates, because this is quite powerful as well. As you can see here, per combination of store view and country code and customer type, you can define whether we want to actually create customer records based on a certain customer template, or do we file the orders on a collect customer number. And this is used a lot by our customers, and typically for B2B scenarios, so for your B2B stores, you probably want to create customer records, but many other customers for their B2C orders, they don't want to create separate customer records. They just want to file all these orders onto a specific collect customer or collect debitor, at least one for each country or region. And there's even more configuration, but let's leave that for the more advanced videos. But you can define order dimensions, credit memo dimensions. You can even go as far as creating a store-specific VAT mapping or VAT configuration so that products can have different VAT codes on different stores. Now, we've imported tax classes, but that's not too spectacular. That's not for this video. We've imported customer groups, same story. Let's dive into those a little later on. But what I do want to show you here is under sales, the shipment methods and payment methods. As you can see here, the software has downloaded all the shipment methods that were available on the Magento side. And then still you need to configure if a sales order comes in with a certain amount under shipping cost on it. How do we treat that? Do we create a sales line on the BC sales order? And will that be a GL line or an item line? And what item or GL account will that be? And you can also see that we can also use or make use of the in-store pickup functionality in Magento. You can select that here or configure that here. And this means that when a shipment is being processed, in terms of pickup, that means that you will end up, or you need to send out a notification that the goods are ready for pickup at a certain point in time. By applying the right configuration here, you will make sure that that all flows correctly. So under payment methods, again, the software has imported all the payment methods that are available on the Magento side. And then down here, you can start how the software or the extension here should treat all the information on that order. Do we set payment method and payment terms code based on the information that we received from Magento, or does anything we find on the customer card prevail over that? And do we want to register the prepayment, which makes it easier for reconciliation later on, or not? Do we want to treat things different? And then last here, which element or which piece of software is creating the actual invoice in Magento? You want to make sure that you end up with one invoice either created by your payment service provider, and if they don't do it, then Business Central should do it. And that's what you configure down here. Now, once you've done all this, and as you can see, it's not all that difficult. Once you've aligned websites, store views, shipment methods, and payment methods, you're able to transact. Before we can actually do that, you want to work on your item catalog, because you need to put some items online before we can see any transactions being created. But this is really all there is in order to get the two systems properly aligned.